another episode of the Creative Coach Podcast. I have a treat for y'all today. I've got DJ Joe Bunn, who we were just chatting, and he has been in the game for 40 years. So today we are going to chat about longevity in the business mindsets that are going to take you there, and, you know, how you need to toughen up mentally to last, specifically in the wedding industry, but as a business owner in general. So I'm going to let Joe introduce himself as well and tell you a little bit more about himself, and then we'll get started.
Yeah. So thanks for having me on. First off, this has, been quite the journey of somebody that's been in the wedding space or the DJ space, starting when I was 13 years old, and here I am almost 53 this year. I had a few other odds and ends kind of jobs when I got out of school, but really this is kind of what I've done. And it was, I don't know, for 20 of the years, it was just me. And then 20 some years ago, I started hiring other DJs and grew that, part of the business to where the Raleigh office, I think we have 25 DJs that work for me here. And then some of the people that were working for me wanted to start their own offices. So then we opened an office in Charleston, and then we opened an office in Richmond, and we opened an office in Charlotte, and then we opened an office in San Diego. And then my sister, like out of the blue, who wasn't really a DJ, just in this midlife crisis mode, decided she wanted to, originally she wanted to just run the DJ company. But she had a hard time finding talent. Next thing you know, she's out there, doing parties now for the last 3 years. So I guess we have 6 offices now in 5 states, thousands of parties a year now, mostly weddings. I still probably do, 40 a year, 30 or 40 a year myself. And it's just been a ride, like I parlayed that into starting to teach other DJs. I started this membership platform 5 years ago, almost to the day. It was February 2019, called the DJ's Vault, where it's just literally like short videos and documents and everything that was in my brain that I needed to put on, in this website to try and help other people have that shortcut. And then like a year or so after that, we started this DJ software company where it helps you find songs faster and organize your library. And then I started building DJ furniture because I hated setting up on a table. And it's just been, everything kind of DJ niche related for the last decade, probably. And that's when I found the groove.
That's amazing. I mean, this is 100% what I consider an empire. You have a national brand, you're providing like products and services to this niche. And I think it's really amazing. And I think that a lot of people, when they've been in the game for a little bit and they've mastered their craft, they start to think about, okay, how am I going to help other people? Other people are coming to you for advice and answers. And so I do feel like a lot of professionals pivot into education at some point, and, controversial, but there's a lot of people in the education space who probably don't need to be there. But someone who's been doing this for 40 years, like you're someone who needs to be there. And I've heard really great things about the DJ's Vault, and I think it's really cool. But yeah, I promised we would talk about growth mindset. So we can come back to the education piece. But yeah, so 40 years is wild. I'm 30 years old total. And I started doing
total.
Yeah. Sorry, was that rude?
That's okay. No, it's not. You just put things into perspective for the listener.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to roast you like that.
You did not.
But yeah, and I started doing video when I was 19 or 20. It's like very young. Again, I wasn't DJing when I was 13, but I still feel like an old maid sometimes. I feel like I've been doing this for forever, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not. And I think a lot of wedding vendor careers are very short. A lot of people can
Mhm.
only hack it for so long. And
Mhm.
their time comes to an end sometimes when they start a family and they want their weekends back, or they just get tired of constantly like grinding and keeping up with the market, or they just don't make a lot of money. And you can only do that for so long before you just say, all right, I got to get out of here and like get a job or do something else. There's nothing
Sure.
wrong with any of that. But
Sure.
yeah, I'd love to know like what advice do you have for someone who's thinking about getting started in the wedding industry or thinking about becoming a DJ? What would you tell somebody who's fresh, who wants to do this
Yeah.
full time?
I think that the first thing you have to realize is it's just not going to happen overnight, no matter how hot you think you are or how cinematic your videos are or how good your pictures are or how um, great you are at planning events. Like it doesn't really matter at first. I mean, there's no way you're coming out of the gate the first few years and being, I don't want to say you're not going to be profitable, but you're not going to make enough to make a living to support yourself, your family, your car, your house, any other debts you have. It's an unrealistic goal. So be more realistic, be more mindful of the fact that you have to build this brand, this company, this empire, whatever you want to call it, and that it's going to take time. So maybe you do have to have another job. Maybe you do have to have another source of income. Maybe you do have to have a platform that makes you money while you sleep. Um, it's not whatever you think, you know, work wise, you need to double or triple that because it's a lot of hard work. Um, and then the longevity piece is just, I think the main thing that I keep preaching to everybody, and I spoke at a conference that I have in November in Atlanta, and I hear a lot of this chatter about, oh, 2023 was terrible, or 2024 is going to be terrible, or my bookings are slow, um, because during the pandemic nobody was dating, and this is the time that they'd be getting married if they had been dating. And that's just, I don't, are we cursing on here? That's just
Yeah.
bullshit. Like it's not accurate. Our business was as good as it was the year before. If you truly want to take a look at your business and you were in business in 2019, look at that number. Don't look at 21 and 22 and then look at 23 and act like you're down. You're not. Like it's look at a realistic year pre-pandemic and then compare it to that year first and foremost. Um, but I believe that what the problem is with a lot of people that get out of this or say they went out of business for this reason or that reason. It's they just stopped. They stopped. They thought they were at the top. They stopped marketing. They stopped caring. And my term is always they took their foot off the gas. And that's never been the case with me. It's never going to be the case with me as long as I'm in business as Bunn DJ Company. Even if I'm not DJing, I promise you, I will always be making content. I'll always be posting stuff. I'll always make some kind of epic video every year with either me in it or my staff in it. It is always full throttle here because there's always somebody right around the corner wanting to take what you built. And if you're gonna, think you're the hot shit and back off, you're just setting yourself up for imminent failure. It's crazy. Like, and I've seen a million people come and go. When Randy and I go to these networking meetings on the second and third Tuesday of every month, I look around and I'm like, dude, where are the OGs? Like, we are all that's left. And it's because we're just relentless. We're always going to be marketing, always going to be hiring new talent, always going to be updating the gear. Like, if you're not in that mindset and think you're just hot and you're going to be hot forever, you're 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 in for a rude awakening.
Yeah.
That's just the cold hard truth.
100%. And look, this is why I wanted you on today because you're going to tell people the truth. And
I'm
I
gonna
think,
tell you exactly the truth.
yeah. And I think when people get started and they're looking specifically for educators, educators are trying to sell them a course and they're not going to tell them the truth. They're going to sell them a dream. and you're going to pay for it. And that's,
Yeah.
that's something really common that I see. There's not a lot of educators who are going to tell you that it takes grind and it takes hard work and it's going to take a long time. And, this whole business is built, I would say it's built on networking. Like you
Yeah.
have to be in front of the right people to last for a long time.
Yeah.
It's very referrals based. It's very saturated. Like you're not going to market your way into a successful business in your first years, is my
It's
opinion.
just, yeah. No, you're right. And it's not going to happen. But once you start to lay the foundation, start to go to the networking meetings, start to send out gifts to people that recommend your company, start to, post better reels after the event, start to engage with other accounts on social media. Like it's a 20-point plan that you need to be going through on a weekly basis, just to establish that network. And then you do good jobs and you photograph it, you document it, and you put it up on social, and people start to recommend you. And then, one recommendation becomes 5, and then 10, and then, 80%, 90% of the venues in town are recommending you, and possibly you own, and sometimes you could be better than average, but your person, your being, your soul is so good that people just want to be around you, want to work with you. Your customer service is so good. The response time on email, the way you speak to people, the way you talk to them on the phone, the way you did the initial consultation, the way you did the consultation the week leading up to the wedding, the way you made them feel at home, like all of those things, the way you take a request from a guest, the way you treat a guest, that's part of the client's friend or family base. Like all of those things compound to make you what you are and to ensure that you are doing this for a long, long time. If you're not willing to do all of those things, you're not going to make it. It's just facts. I mean, I'm just, there's so many elements to it. And if you're not the front facing person, or if you don't think you can do that stuff, then just run the company and let somebody else do it. Because all you're going to do is tank it. If you need somebody that's calmer, cooler, better looking, uh, um, has just a different demeanor than you, then that's who you need to put as the client facing person in your company, and you do something else. You know what I mean? Maybe you post to social media, maybe you run the books, maybe you do something behind the scenes. But if you can't do all of those things and be kind to people, then please just stop that part of it and designate somebody else, your spouse, your partner, your right hand man, your right hand woman. Like that's not the job for you, because you're gonna put your business in an early grave. I promise.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've met so many people who their work was very average. Like it was good, but it was very
Yeah.
average. And they
Yeah.
booked their calendars full because
Killed
they
it.
just had a
Yeah.
bomb personality. And
Yeah.
it's a wedding day. It's personal. It's emotional. People want
Yeah.
someone who's going to show up and be in their corner with a good attitude and make everybody comfortable. And vice versa. You can have the best work in the world, but if you start getting a bad reputation that you're difficult to work with or rude or pushy, you're going
Mhm.
to be out of business in a year.
Sure. Sure. Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
100%. Yeah, I would just reiterate again, like this business is so networking heavy. You have to have relationships with people, be kind to people, and that includes other vendors, not just couples who are paying you. You got to be kind to
Mhm.
everybody. But I think another piece of longevity too, like you were mentioning earlier, is you need to be okay with the money around the wedding industry. So I'd love to talk about like money mindset because you've built a huge
Sure.
empire and you don't do that without being very strategic about your money and
Yeah.
letting it get to you when it's not there during the down season and then not
Yeah.
coasting in the months where you're just making a killing. Um,
Sure.
yeah. So like I love hearing people's money philosophies. So hit me.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that if there's anything, I think everybody in business, really in life, has weaknesses I've always said that I'm really good at making money and a lot of it, and really bad at holding on to it. Um, as I've gotten older, obviously I've gotten a lot better, but I mean, I really don't even think I turned the corner probably till I was 40, to where I thought I was like, okay, you've got this under control now, because it was either just bad planning, um, overspending, no budgeting, and it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? Because like you said, there are waves. You know, it comes in huge sums, and then it goes out. You know, on Monday when I have to pay 15 DJs, um, or you know, your overhead, your rent, your gear, your blah blah blah, and so I've definitely been to the bottom. I mean, I don't know, couple decades ago, it might have been 20 years ago, but you kind of figure it out. You know, you learn from your mistakes. I definitely think that a lot of it was probably tax related, just not being prepared, quite frankly, for the brutality of the U.S. government taxation, or the North Carolina government. Like, if there's one thing that's sure, you're going to pay taxes. And if you make a lot of money, you're going to pay even more taxes. So I started paying in every month. Like, I was like, this quarterly thing ain't working. Like, this is not, I'm literally going to just pay every month. Even if I've overpaid, great, I overpaid. You know what I mean? And I'll roll it into the next year. But I also got a lot better at, number one, like separating accounts. Like, I think everything was commingled forever. And, you
Mhm.
know, so all these different businesses now have different accounts. And then those accounts have sub accounts. There's a book called Profit First. The guy's name's Mike McAllowitz. He's super sharp. I don't like, this is going to offend some people, but I'm the opposite of the Dave Ramsey effect. Like, he can kiss my ass. Like, I'm not going to change, like going to get a $6 latte and a $3 scone every morning to pay off my mortgage faster. Like, I don't believe in that mindset. I don't live like that. I'm not going to live like that. But what I do believe is that you need to, especially if you don't know how to manage your money well, is to have different buckets or different accounts, if you will. So like at Bunn DJ Company, I'll have like a tax, like I can go right now and look on Truist and see the main account, you know, which is where a bunch of deposits are probably being held for shows that have not yet happened. I can see a tax reserve account. I can see my personal account where I pulled, you know, what I would consider my owner's fee out of that. So if you know, and some people even have, you know, again, just an account for deposits. Boom, this account's just for the balance of the show. Boom, this account is for the money that's going to the DJs, so that they don't get into this trouble of spending money that's quite frankly not really theirs. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? You got to pay your staff. You got to pay taxes. You got to pay, you know, that deposit technically is not yours because you haven't really even done the work yet. You know, you've done some maybe pre-planning and whatnot, but you got to be very careful in this kind of business with the amount of money coming in and going out, or you will get in trouble. That's a good book. Read that book. Profit First, Mike McAllowitz. I'm sure it's on Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. And the profit first philosophy, I'm going to sum it up and you let me know if I did this right or not, is
Yeah, yeah.
basically you are paying yourself first. You're making sure that you're compensating yourself for your time before you start paying out everything else in your business.
That's
And
right.
what that doesn't mean is you're just giving yourself all the money and then like not accounting
No,
for anything else.
it's
But
not your
you
money. Right.
understand, yeah, you understand this money is actually there. I'm going to pay it myself. And then all this money needs to go towards other expenses. And
That's exactly the
yeah.
model. And what percentage of the, just say you made $100, you know what I mean? Like, if
Hmm.
you made $100 and you just said, okay, I'm going to take $10 out of every $100 I make, or something like that. And you truly could start an account on just that $10 out of every 100, or 100 out of 1,000, or whatever it is. But the book is simple. I don't like those kind of books usually, but somebody gave it to me years ago, and I actually had him on a podcast during the pandemic. He was shot out of a cannon because the world was like crumbling, and he's like, "Look,
Yeah.
everybody, calm down." He didn't even have slides. I remember he was holding up like pieces of paper, like this drawn like graphs on them and stuff. And I was like, "What? This guy's awesome." I couldn't even believe he came on. Like it was just to talk to a
Yeah.
bunch of DJs. And anyway,
That's
he's
amazing.
yeah.
But yeah, he's basically like you prioritize paying yourself. And if you run out of money, that's okay. It just means you don't spend on your business, but you're still paying yourself because
Yep,
you got to live, you got to eat, and the
that's
money
right.
is going to come for the business expenses down the road. But you got to take care of yourself because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of your business.
That's
And
right.
especially if you have a team, like consider yourself the captain of the ship. If the ship goes
True.
down, and the captain goes down,
Oh,
everyone else is
yeah. I
going to sink
mean,
too.
you have a lot of mouths to feed. A lot of people are relying on you. I think the way my company's been so successful is that, all these people are subcontractors and they do this for extra money. And from the very beginning, day one, when they were interviewing, I told them that. I said, this is not your full-time job. It's never going to be your full-time job. This is your, Disney money for your family to go. This is your wife's Louis bag that she's been sweating you for. Like this is not your job. Like, and so all these people, behind me with all these pictures you see at these amazing events we've done. I mean, all these DJs have something else: software engineer, realtor, air conditioner repairman, electrician. Like, I mean, they have other sources of income. And so, they don't rely on this to necessarily eat. Um, and I told them that from day one. So just a little sidebar there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this even goes back to what you were saying before. When you're getting started, or even if you're a solopreneur, or maybe you're just in a year where business is down, there is no
Yeah.
shame in having another job, like working part-time to pay your bills. When I
You
was getting
should have
started,
something else. Yes. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, like when I was getting started, when I was a kid, like I was in
Mhm.
college, I was
Yeah.
not doing this full time. And when I
Right.
graduated, I worked a full-time job and built my business on the
Yeah.
side for like 5, 7
Yeah.
years. And then when I decided I wanted to try to do this full time, I took a part-time job because I couldn't quite
Mhm.
get my business to where
Mhm.
it was going to be full time like
Mhm.
overnight. So I worked part-time for like
Mhm.
2 years and then I eventually was able to go full time. And I'm not ashamed of that. Like I'll tell people every day.
No,
And you know what? If I come across a down year like 2020 when the pandemic hit, like obviously that was a down year for everybody.
garbage.
I
Yeah.
nannied again because
Yeah.
childcare, people needed childcare. I needed to pay my bills. So I
Sure.
was a nanny that whole year
Yeah.
because I couldn't work.
Yeah.
And yeah,
There's no shame in that. You know what I mean? Like I think it's extremely difficult unless you come from money to start a business without doing that. But there is a turning point at some point, and only you know the answer to when it is, where financially you can say, all right, I genuinely believe I can do this full time. And that's when you kind of cut ties to corporate America or Starbucks or driving Uber or whatever it is that second thing is. I mean, the true goal, the true um, side hustle that really is going to be the best thing is something aligned with what you already do, right? Like
mhm,
you said, if you had an education platform to teach people about, photo or video, I mean, that's ideal, right? Or you could sell a course or you monetize the podcast and Canon or whatever picks it up and says they're the sponsor. Like that's the beauty of what I do. And I think anytime I veered off path to a hat and t-shirt company or managing a rapper or whatever, something that was so off base of what the DJ thing started as, it was a failure, quite frankly. And I lost a ton of money. But if
yeah,
I stuck to the DJ path, everything seemed to go swimming.
yeah, yeah. And I think, in the creative industry, in the wedding industry in particular, I do think there's
Yeah.
a pressure to like go full time. And I'm putting full time in air
Sure.
quotes because
Sure.
people just want to like, I don't know, like flex that they don't have another job. And like, there's nothing cool about that. What's cool is paying your bills and like taking care
Yeah,
of your family. Like
that's
that's
very, yeah,
cool.
that's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So just if you're listening and you're in this boat of feeling like you're not good enough or you've failed for some reason because you're not doing this full time yet, you're doing a great job. You're cool. You're
Absolutely.
paying your bills. And that's a lot more than
Yeah.
some people can say.
And the internet and social media is a lie. I mean, let's just be honest.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not putting all my problems out there. It's rainbows and puppy dogs for me, and so don't think these people that are flexing aren't standing in front of a rented Corvette half the time. So just take that stuff with a grain of salt. It's an illusion, quite frankly.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And also think about all the people who are married and their spouse has a full-time job that's steady, like me. Like my husband works, he has a great job, and I work really hard. I'm proud of what I've done in my business, but like if we both weren't making our money, we wouldn't pay our bills. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like,
But also think of it the other way. They could be, their husband could be a neurosurgeon, and he's funding their entire operation, their entire wedding planning business, right? Like he's paying that bill. Like
mhm,
she or he is not running that company on their own. So like you don't know all the arching effects of what they've got going on behind the scenes. They could come from old money. Their mom and dad, could have given them a trust fund. Like I mean, so
yeah,
don't. My best advice on that is unfollow anybody that is giving you that feeling.
mhm,
And if you don't unfollow them, just mute them and you'll never see their stuff again. I've done it to a million people. I'm not going to say their names, but I don't ever see their stuff. I'm never bothered by it. And anytime something comes up that I am bothered by, mute or unfollow immediately.
yeah, yeah. So I'd say like money mindset, like money is just a number, and you need to pay your bills. Whatever that looks like for you is good.
I mean,
Cover-
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I was very much into my 40s before I actually before I was very comfortable with money and was like, man, I don't really need to check my accounts every day to make sure I have money. Like
Yeah.
I was definitely in my 40s.
Yeah. I'm planning ahead. I'd love to talk too about what you just said about like blocking out the haters. Have you ever seen that meme with the guy with the spoons on his face?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
little kid, and he's like, just blocking out the haters. So let's talk about that. Because, yeah, there are a lot of people who are going to make you feel bad about yourself. And they may or may not be doing it intentionally, or it might just be someone you're looking at and you're just like, I'm constantly jealous of them. Or I look at their work and I feel like it's so much better than mine and it hurts my feelings, but you're hurting your
Sure,
own feelings. They're not trying to
sure.
hurt your feelings. And there are some
Right.
people who are just like jerks and
Oh no, there's
they're
plenty of
being followed.
people that are just, yeah, they are trying to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you dig down deep, like I've always said, like it's not you they have a problem with. There's something wrong with them. They have some sort of internal issue or depression or anxiety, and they're just venting on you because you happen to be on the screen. I mean, as somebody I mean, we with that Crate Hackers app, I mean, I think we spend, um, I don't know, quarter million to 400, quarter million to 400,000 a year on Facebook ads. So imagine how many times a day my face comes up if you are in the DJ space. Sometimes I'm dressed like a woman. Sometimes I got on makeup. Sometimes I got on an emo wig. Sometimes I'm a soldier. So I mean, our ads are relentless, and the comments. Oh my god!
They're
I mean,
relentless as well,
I
aren't
just
they?
can't even. And I got a YouTube channel with probably 15,000 subscribers. I mean, and that's free, content. Like I'm not charging for any of this stuff. The ads, okay, that could get annoying. I get annoyed with ads, right? But I'm surely not going to comment on them or like, call Doritos and tell them, their ad is stupid. YouTube, you're giving this free content, reviewing gear that I paid for, and you would be shocked at the comments. I mean, people just crucify you. And it's like, why are you even following this channel? Like, all you had to do was just go to another video. Like, it's just wild. So you've got to, if you're going to put yourself out there, which you have to these days to be top of mind and to get bookings, you better have a thick skin.
Yeah.
or somebody that's going to monitor your stuff and delete all that, the hate, which I have, like I have a virtual assistant that I'm just like, just clean it up. Don't even send it to me. I don't want to read
Yeah.
that nonsense.
I don't want to see this all day, every day.
No, it's not good for your mental health. People are just sick out there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So what are your tips for like mental resiliency?
That number one. I
Yeah.
think muting and unfollowing is number one. Avoiding imposter syndrome, like if you think somebody's better, just, learn from it. You know what I mean? Like look at their videos or look at their content and adapt it to your own style. Think about how you can not steal it, but do something similar or aligned, or how can I shoot this next wedding better? How can I, you know, perform better at the next DJ event? How can I play better mixes? It's all about, elevating it. I would use it as motivation instead of something that's detrimental. You know what I mean? Like I look at it as a learning opportunity or as just a free little mini lesson that I just got from somebody. I mean, I certainly see content from DJs and I'm just like, wow, that's so good. Like, and usually I'll save it, I'll save it or I'll send it to the person that does my edits. And I'm like, this guy's killing it. Like this, like, look, study this. And the next time I send you all that footage, go for this look or this transition or this filter or this song choice. Like this is operating at the highest level. And I'll tell that guy, dude, you killed this reel. Like this is so good. That party looks lit. You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes I think it's especially the people you look up to, leave them on, learn from it, accept it, adapt it, adopt it, whatever. And the people that are annoying or you compete against, just get rid of them. I mean, mute or unfollow, mute or unfollow. Um, I don't know. I mean, that has definitely helped me. I mean, I'm not above going to see a shrink or a therapist for mental health. I've definitely done it before. I hadn't been in a couple of years, but if I felt like I was in a weird spot, I got no shame in going to see somebody and being like, we got to talk about this. Especially if you don't feel like you have that friend group or that partner or spouse or whatever. Like sometimes you got to go to a third party and just be like, let me just walk you through how crazy my life is, whatever. And it may be a month. It may be, some people go for, you hear people, celebrities and stuff been going since 20 years ago before it
Yeah.
was even accepted, or even talked about. People, have been going for once a week for literally decades.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my mental health check notes for the day, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even on that, like in 2020, it was a hard year for everybody. And
Garbage.
I did
Zero
this
stars.
zero negative stars if we could.
Yes, yes.
And I did the therapy thing for about 6 months, went for a week.
Sure.
And something that we uncovered was like I had attached a lot of my personal identity to my business. And so when I couldn't do my business, I felt like I didn't know who I was anymore. And so like my advice too would be like you are your business to an extent, but you also need to have
Sure.
a life outside your business. You need to have
Yeah.
friends outside the business and outside the
Yeah.
industry. You need to keep those things
Yes.
separate. Because like
Yeah.
if you decide to retire early or whatever, or there's a bad year
Yeah.
in, like you
Yeah.
are still a person and you are still worthy of like love, even if your business isn't working out for you in the moment. It's totally fine
Yep.
if your business tanks, but like you are a whole person outside of your business, so don't
That's
lose
right.
to it.
That's right. The business is there because of you, not vice versa.
Hmm.
Not you don't exist because of this business. You built it. You're the person, right?
Yeah.
And your life's going to continue. Like if I stop doing this today, my life just continues on. You know what I
Right.
mean? I have less money, but life goes on.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So we've got a few minutes left, 3 minutes
Yep.
left,
Okay.
to be
3 minutes.
specific. But I'd love to know. I mean, I feel like we've touched on a lot of things like getting your mindset straight from the beginning, like this takes time. It's a networking game. You gotta have some kind of money savviness about you. You need to
Yes.
understand how money works and you need to be
Yes.
on top of it and diligent about it. All the way to like, you got to get your mind right, block out the
Yeah.
haters, take care of
Sure.
yourself. What else in our last like 2 minutes here comes to mind, if anything?
I mean, I look at longevity also as scaling. I think that was a good segue to this. I didn't really think about it until, I started thinking about really all these events and that we've done and all these memories we've made. I mean, here's the reality of it. I don't have to ever go out and do a show again. People ask me every day, I don't get it. Why do you still personally go out and do it? I love it. I still love it. I never wake up on a Saturday morning and dread putting on that suit and tie and loading the gear and going to play somebody's wedding. When I do, then I'll just become the owner of the company and book other people, the 28-year-old version of me, that I just hired. I don't have to go do the show, but it's because am constantly hiring, constantly training, constantly looking for more talent, because again, if you want to keep the pipeline going, you've got to keep it full of talent. And so whenever somebody says, are you hiring? Always, yes. Even if I feel like I'm overstaffed at that time, I'm always going to be hiring. So if you are just one person running around out there trying to do everything, think about delegating, think about getting a virtual assistant, and then think about starting to scale and train people to be your clone.
I love it. Yeah, great advice. Well, thank you for this. I know,
Absolutely.
if this was something I had heard when I was first getting started, it solved a lot of my problems I had those first couple of years where I was down on
Good. I hope this
myself.
helps. I hope it helps.
Yeah. Take it slow. Take it easy. Well, thank you, the legend, Joe Bunn, for coming on today.
Thank you for me on. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely check him out. If you're a DJ, absolutely check out the DJ Vault because I've heard amazing things. And hopefully you can skip some of those hard years by learning from someone who's been through
Shortcut.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.